Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Here's the thing. This is not because of the McGregor-Mayweather fight, though it does sort of, like, fall into this, right?
I would agree, but you can't understand me.
What you're saying, I know.
it's
So,
awful.
this is the thing. We aren't here to talk about the fight. Like
No.
everybody else is doing tonight. This sounds so stupid. But we are here to...
Okay, that's better.
Okay.
We're here to talk about something that
I got
an
it.
ex-UFC fighter
I got
managed
it.
to put out, or a former UFC fighter, retired, I don't know. Whatever Bautista is now that he's Dave Bautista.
He's an actor slash wrestler slash executive producer.
Yes, he executive
He's a
produced the film
slashy,
we're
just
talking
like
about.
in Zoolander.
Yes. So we're talking about a movie by the name of Bushwick.
Yes, a place in New York.
You may be familiar with the geographical location, and that's exactly where this movie's based.
Can we take our gloves off so I can have some siempre?
Yeah, you know what? It's
Sorry, like I brought these because I really did like the idea.
it's a good look,
And
I gotta say.
I did actually wear these when I went to go to the screening of Creed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was on a date with this guy, and I brought them, and I wore them, and you know what? Never had another date with the guy again.
Man, it's a good way to filter a dude out. You're
Totally,
like,
that was a measure.
You got a problem with bringing boxing gloves?
He did
to-
not like it.
Evidently
he did not
not.
like that. Anyways,
Well,
okay, so
here we go.
cheers.
Down to
Let's
business.
get started here. So this is
So we're talking about Bushwick. And Bushwick is a film that has some neat surprises in it.
yeah.
Um,
So before anything, we just said the name. Don't go look it up. Let me just if you can do us or do yourself a favor. If you do plan on seeing this, don't look it up. Don't look at any poster images.
Don't read a synopsis. Don't read the log line on the poster.
No, don't read the log line. Probably don't even watch the trailer. I mean, the trailer
The
we
trailer,
saw,
I've got to say, didn't spoil the movie in the way that the poster does.
Well, no, and the trailer that we saw originally, because the thing is that this film has gone through some trials and tribulations before it got to us.
Because it's not a studio picture where from the beginning of inception of the film through to the delivery of it, there was one plan.
Yeah.
This was a film that was picked up by distributors all around the world, and these distributors are finding their own ways of selling Bushwick.
Yeah.
And so some of those people, I can speak from experience, don't really want to sell the movie in a way that makes the movie the best watching experience. They want to sell the movie in the way that gets the most bums in seats.
Sure, but the thing is as well is that it took, it did take some time. Like it was supposed to come out. It will be out in theaters. Well, is out in theaters as of yesterday.
Yeah, as of August 25th.
In North America, it's doing a it's doing a theatrical run.
But limited
theaters.
theaters.
It's a bit specific, so you might want to look specifically to your city, but it was supposed to come out on a bit of a larger release, and then things kind of changed, and it was sort of up in the air, and there's been some changes in regards to the first time I heard about it, and I showed you the trailer, and the trailer looked really fun, and
it was like a super hype looking awesome
Fun.
action flick.
Yeah, almost like in a sense, not in this exact same vein as far as like you could say that
You thinking like hardcore?
I was gonna say Hardcore Henry. It's almost, it was like, that's like this on steroids time a million, but it almost had that sort of similar vein where you're a POV style sort of
the
thing.
The style of this film, from the trailer, you might think it's got sort of a first-person shooter vibe.
Game. Yeah.
But it's actually more Birdman, Revenant, Oneer that they're going for in it. It's a very Inarritu, inspired by that, but I feel like the lens choices and the way that the Steadicam tends to follow, it breaks from what Inarritu does.
You know what? Now that you just said that about the Steadicam, now I remember. So Matt and I we saw Revenant together, and we both watched that, and after we were just like, this was like, we felt like we had like gone and like been to the gym for 7 hours.
Yeah, watching Revenant
was
is like
exhausting.
CrossFit in the coldest environment you can imagine.
Yeah, but it was a crazy like adventure. You also feel like exhausted, and I now that you mentioned the Steadicam, and it is a lot like that, especially the way that it's shot when there's action, as far as like gunfight, which there is a lot in this.
And from a director, like critiquing the director's work, when you look at Birdman, the gag, the like gimmick of Birdman is that the whole thing is supposed to look like one shot, which is one way of showing your prowess as a filmmaker. Then there's the fact that Revenant uses long shots without trying to gimmick you into thinking the whole thing is one.
Well, their gimmick thing was also we used no artificial light. All natural light, which was, you know, and I loved the Revenant. You loved the Revenant. It was
gorgeous.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was exhausting, but it was. I'm tired thinking about it.
I know.
But the thing about Bushwick that's interesting is that I didn't feel like either choice was made.
No.
At the beginning of Bushwick, it starts with this crazy cool long oneer. After the credit sequence is done, you're in this oneer.
Yeah, in the subway.
Yeah, and it takes you on a really long journey before the first cut happens.
Yeah, and actually there's the male in the subway scene who plays Brittany Snow, who's one of the lead characters. Her character's name is Lucy. She plays her boyfriend named Jose. They're like going to Bushwick to meet her family. So she's from Bushwick. She's coming back to Bushwick just on the subway with her boyfriend Jose to meet the family for the first time. He is in the TV show Broad City.
Oh,
he plays Alana's roommate.
Okay.
Also a Hispanic character.
Cool.
But yes, anyways, that's an aside. But yes, it starts as one long, shot.
And it's interesting because when you break out of a oneer, if you begin your movie with that oneer, it's a tricky tonal aesthetic to shift into like shot reverse shot or to shift into master shots, because when you're doing a oneer, the trick is to make sure that it shifts from a close-up to a wide shot to another close-up. And so it's something that Kurosawa was great at way before the advent of the Steadicam.
Let's just also make sure you guys know. So you've got with the different types of shots you're talking about. So you've got the oneer, which is a one shot. So you're going through with a character as like a POV style shot.
With no cuts.
No cuts. And then you're talking about master shots.
And a master shot is something that has a tendency to usually just be a wide and watch a whole scene play out. Yeah. And then shot reverse shot is when there's like a matching frame of one person and then another shot of another person and then back to that person. And those are techniques that are usually integrated and occasionally completely separate. There are movies that have no oneers in them at all. There are movies that have no shot reverse shot in it at all, like Birdman. That uses mirrors and constant shifting of camera angles to give you intimate moments with characters, but never cut from one image to another. The interesting thing about this film is that just when you think, and I'd say it's like 16 minutes into the movie maybe, when you think, okay, I'm in for a Birdman ride, this whole thing is going to be one shot, it cuts over to Dave Bautista, and you're like, oh, yeah. Okay, so this movie's going to have a shift of this style. It's going to go in and out of it, and it is a really cool thing to see happen to in a genre of film that is like a modern action flick. Because Revenant is a bit of an action flick, but it doesn't have the snipers on rooftops and like MMA fighters and stuff like that.
It doesn't have the Hasidic Jews shooting at people.
Yes, Hasidic Jews with automatic weapons.
And that's what was in the trailer, by the way. And that's, so to me, when I saw that, and then I just saw lots of different, basically a sort of a quick scan of all the different ethnicities and diverse people that live in Bushwick right now. When I saw that in the trailer and I just sort of saw people running through and shooting and whatever, I got a bit of a more Hardcore Henry vibe. Yeah. And it's actually really, really not... we both love Hardcore Henry. That was like
that's such a good ride.
Awesome film. This film... it's so confusing, guys. I don't know how to explain
Emotionally confusing. Not the plot necessarily.
But what's the plot?
Okay, before we get into the plot, because that's a pretty big spoiler.
This review might be a bit all over the place, because here's the thing.
We don't really want to give away the really great thing that happens in the first act that brings you into the second act.
Exactly, which is part of why we're saying don't come into this the same way we did, which is just seeing Well, don't even watch the trailer we did, which is...
The poster spoils it, really.
The poster, and we didn't actually... I didn't see the poster till after I saw the movie. Now I see, and that spoils it. Don't look at the poster.
Because from the trailer...
That we saw.
Yeah, which they could have made new ones by now. But as of 2 weeks ago...
Because it's gone through some hands. Yeah.
The trailer is about an attack on Bushwick.
Yeah.
A military occupation of... Bushwick in its early stages.
Yeah.
So, you've got the various neighborhoods and the various residents of Bushwick all trying to fight back, defend themselves, hide, run. It's a really neat question of what happens when our, easy North American life is disrupted the way that life is disrupted every frigging day in other parts of the world.
And which though like we were talking about earlier, which is part of what made this movie for me such a fucking bummer. Like
well, you're an American and you have a real attachment.
I'm an American, so I'm a dual citizen though. Just so you guys know, I'm
Hey, you're not just an American.
I'm a Canadian and I'm an American, but I'm an American citizen. I'm also a September 11th baby, so I have a bit of a strange. My sister was also living in New York at the time, and it was very hard to. We get a hold of her. We couldn't hear from her for a bit, which was actually apparently quite normal because you couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Well, the cells get blown out. That makes sense.
The whole thing has been quite weird, and ever since then, even just little things like getting my passport has been not a great thing, despite the fact that it's my own country. It's tricky, and there's something about it that to me just. I gotta tell you, I walked into this movie stoked to watch a fun, mindless action film. Not but kind of mindless action film.
You don't expect an MMA fighter to step into a lead role and make a sort of emotionally confusing film. Look at Haywire. That's a Soderbergh film starring Gina Carano. Really great action flick. Soderbergh thought, this MMA fighter, she is such a great fighter, and I can see just the right performance in her to make this film. She also plays Angel Dust in Deadpool. She is a really great actor when you put her in the right role.
Right.
And Bautista so far has played, like a silent, bruiser in a James Bond movie. And this happy, loud, vivacious Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy. So we've seen him in two very different modes. And this film, I kind of figured we were going to get that zany fighter. And instead we got something very emotional and dark, withdrawn, very dark.
Dude, I got to tell you guys, this film is I'm sorry to have to it's not fun. I was going in for a fun action flick, and I was super bummed out when I watched it. It's really bleak. It's quite grim, and it's not fun. And the weird thing is that I was talking to Matt, and I was saying did I like this film? I don't know. I'm not sure if I liked it, but was it good? I think so.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's just it's so strange that I would be so confused by a Bautista. He also is an executive producer on this, by the way.
Yeah, Bautista obviously really believes in
it.
And it's cool that he, put his name up there. It's also...
You can see from his performance, though, as well. I was very surprised, but he really believes in this film, and he really believed in this character. I get a real talk, sorry, y'all, but I did not see anything else that I think he's been in, because I don't do the other films that he does.
You don't... Guardians of the Galaxy and James Bond aren't really your jam.
No. Well, Wait, no, but was he in the Kickboxer recent one?
I
think he might have been. No, I think he was.
I would believe that.
No, maybe it was George St. Pierre. But I think it might have been Bautista, but I might be wrong. Sorry, Alain, if you're watching. My friend Alain starred in the new version of Kickboxer. There is a new one called the Kickboxer Retaliation that's coming out soon. We will probably be reviewing that.
Okay.
But I was expecting this is not what I was expecting, but he clearly, though, he really actually, I thought, was a very, very... He had a lot of depth of character.
I really loved Bautista's performance.
I did too.
There were moments.
I was shocked.
Yeah, there were moments where he was in emotional pain. There are moments where he is in like a really gruesome physical kind of pain.
Oh, dude, I forgot.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt. I saw this a week before he did, so we haven't. We are. He.
I'm a little bit out of sync. I only saw this a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Oh,
and
I forgot about that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
it's
God.
gross.
There are some really and there's some
gross.
nice effects. The trick with a oneer is to show somebody like getting shot and then go away to look at something else and then come back and then the makeup effect has been very rapidly applied.
Yeah, and it's like I forgot about that. Yo, that thing was sick at the beginning.
Yeah. There are some really great
there is
some really great moments in this film, and I think it might be time now that we have said this film is absolutely worth checking out.
Yes.
It's bleak and dark. The action is cool.
Yeah, I gotta tell you though, it's bleak, it's dark.
Do you want to move into spoilers now and start talking about this?
I guess we might have
to. It's on the poster.
We're gonna, I guess so. The thing that sucks, like, guys, I never saw the poster when I saw this. The trailer that I saw was, I think, a lot older because, as we were saying, I think it's gone through some hands. Another thing we had talked about is that I was saying to Matt that I think that this is probably a difficult film to sell.
Well, the filmmakers of a movie have a tendency to cut the initial trailers so that they can sell it. And they are the ones that are going to have the most integrity to the story. The surprises that they want to have be surprises will not be in the trailer.
You're talking about Carey Murnion and David Millard. Those are the directors who also did Cooties, by the way. Elijah Wood's Cooties.
But once you go into having sales agents and distributors involved, they're cutting the movie that will sell they're cutting the trailer that will sell the movie. And they're making the posters that will sell the movie.
That will also be allowed in certain territories.
Yeah.
Which is something we've been talking also about a lot recently. Different territories, when it comes to ratings,
different standards.
Have different standards.
But the poster of this movie says something on it that gives away the amazing twist into the second act. So we're going to start talking about that twist.
Should we actually do it?
We must.
Should we?
Because that's really worth doing.
So
but before we do it, we're going to go into spoilers.
Hang on.
And it's time to do it.
So just so you know, right now, we're going to say stuff that's like about this film that is... Yeah, it's so revealing.
It takes us into the second act.
I can't believe that they just fucking blew their load on the poster.
Yeah. Basically, the insurgent force that is attacking Bushwick is Texas.
Yeah.
It is a militia from the South. This film is about a very real, a very possible new civil war.
Very possible. Here's the thing. This is why I was saying I think that this was hard to sell. Is because this is what's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's not a possible civil war.
What's happening in America right now, ramped up to 11, is this movie.
I feel like it's not so much different though than last week.
I don't know. It's terrifying. A little bit. I think you're right. The reason this movie has gotten a limited release as opposed to being pushed by the distributors that we were in contact with about this film is because it is a sensitive time in American politics.
It's just too timely.
North and south of the Mason-Dixon line on the East Coast is the thing to be worried about right now. And this movie shows what would happen if the South decided through military action that they would secede from the Union and take parts of the North as collateral.
Well, I think the other thing is that what I was saying to you earlier is that it just also calls it what it is. I've been saying to Matt that it's a strange thing, this thing that people keep saying of there's clashes. There's been clashes between people in the States. There's clashes at these rallies. There's clashes, but clashes daily, day after day after day after day. That's actually, you can't just keep calling it clashes. That's a civil war.
Yeah, if you were describing what's happening in Israel, if you were describing what's happening in Iraq, if you were describing what's happening in Sierra Leone, you're talking about war.
Yeah. You wouldn't just keep calling it clashes for years after years. Like
when someone drives a car into a crowd of people, that's a bit of war.
When there's these people, they're killing the police officers. They're killing each other. There's no like love for your fellow man in any way because there's no fellowship at all.
Yeah,
that is a civil war.
It's been like half a century since we lined up people on opposite sides of a field and decided we were going to fight. That's not how war goes now. War goes a lot like what's happening.
Like Red Rover.
Yeah,
anyways.
right? Yeah, it's not like wars don't happen like they do in Game of Thrones, man.
No.
Wars are different now. And I feel like this film is a really frighteningly accurate depiction of what would happen if a really well-stocked militia from the South and like a well-trained militia decided that they're the army of the Confederacy.
Yeah.
And go for it. And it was disturbing the moment that change happens.
So that's the thing I gotta say, you guys. Like, that was the thing. I didn't even finish watching this before I messaged you, and I was like, I gotta tell you, this is fucking grim, and it's bleak, and I'm like bummed out. I'm not even done, and I was saying because we weren't sure why the release got changed and why it had there was a lot of
moving pieces, which is unusual. That late into a distribution plan,
and we couldn't figure out why. I thought maybe I wasn't good, and people, they didn't like it.
No, it's pretty good, and people
it's good.
People like it.
The thing is it's a bit much in a sense.
Yeah, and this has happened to like studio films have this happen to them all the time. They make a film and then something in it is too close to a grim reality. Back in 2000, there was a beautiful trailer for Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man film, where a helicopter is caught in a web between the Twin Towers. And then September 11th happened, and that trailer is almost impossible to find now.
Here's another thing we can talk about, is that this movie doesn't just talk about the politics that are happening in a sense. Here's the thing also as well. This movie doesn't actually, that's what you were saying, it doesn't, it's so weird. It doesn't talk about anything.
I'm not sure it has an opinion.
It doesn't have an opinion. That's another very interesting thing.
It definitely doesn't have a call to action.
No.
Like, at the end of... We were talking about another Dave Bautista film that I love, the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Which goes on episode.
But at the end of that film, the call to action is really like, go hug your dad. Go be with your family. Treasure the moments you have with your family.
Loved ones, yeah.
And it was like, out of a great big space opera that's not expected.
Sure.
At the end of a movie like this, I was really wondering if there would be a call to action. What's the opinion?
There was a little bit, and to me it was, the takeaway is basically like, things can change in the blink of an eye. Stand up for what you believe in. And, help your fellow man if possible. But by that same token...
What is your fellow man?
Who is your fellow man?
Is your fellow man on the other side of the Mason-Dixon line?
But I don't know,
because this movie says that they are not.
They are not. But the other thing also is that this movie, a lot of this, again, is done from a POV, somebody else's POV. It's like someone watching them with a camera, following them around. And to me, it felt very voyeuristic, and I felt kind of like a piece of shit watching somebody die in front of me, and instead of doing something, just filming it so I could post it later on something. And for me, that's a very real thing as well that's happening now. So
there is a moment in the film. It happens in the school, in the first act of the film, before they reveal who the villains of the piece are, where the Steadicam operator comes up, spins around, and you see his shadow on the wall. And I
didn't see that.
It's just a couple of seconds, and a couple of frames, really. And in that moment, I thought, shit, was that on purpose?
No.
Was that the directors telling us that we're there, or was that just the budget of the film showing?
I don't think that.
I don't know, because like you said, it feels a little bit like you're there. But it's not like in Hardcore Henry where someone looks at the camera and says, "Hey, Henry, come over here." Right. It's like you're not addressed, but the choice of camera lens that they go with makes it feel less like you're the omnipotent viewer following along, and it makes you feel more like you're physically there, which is a neat aesthetic choice. It happens in The Revenant during the bear attack. Where there's blood on the camera lens, and then the bear snorts towards the camera and there's a little bit of fog that hits the lens.
But
like those moments to make you feel like you're actually there, and then you're like, oh no, a camera's actually there in the 1700s.
But in this one, there was things though that made me think like, you are meant to almost think that you're the one watching it in a sense, because like that thing we're talking about when they were going up the stairs.
Yep.
You see the person above you, like their feet is just a little bit above you, so you can just see the tops of their feet. So if you're like for me, I'm 5'4", so for me, when I go upstairs, I just see people's feet. If I was to look straight out, I would just see someone else's feet because I don't see anything else. And basically anything that's over 5'4" to me is just fucking giant. So to me, that's why I saw it. And then when he's going around the staircase, like the camera itself, it moves. So for me, I was like, this isn't my height of film. This is my height of film.
Yeah, it made you feel like you were there.
It did. But you don't think that was...
I mean, because the camera is never addressed, I feel like that is a choice to make it feel visceral.
Yeah.
Without trying to make you feel guilty.
I felt guilty as shit.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, man. There's also a part in this where they're looking for... okay, yeah. So now we are definitely getting into spoiler territory. There is a bit of a mission, because that was one thing as well during this. I was going, what's the actual end goal
There
here?
wasn't a whole lot of forward motion other than survival.
Survival.
For the first 2 acts of the
just
movie.
like not getting killed and not getting hurt, but that gets blown out basically a few minutes in.
Yeah.
So not getting hurt is not now an option, because our lead female, who you expect to not to happen then, she gets her fucking finger blown off right in front of you because she was dumb.
Which was a great
moment. It was a great
moment. She
moment.
was dumb. She was maybe not dumb, but she was passionate about the people in her neighborhood.
Yes.
And protective of someone who she's lost at that point.
Yes.
Mr. Argo had died, and she found...
Well, and her boyfriend at that point.
Yeah, but that was a different perpetrator.
This is true.
In the case of this,
you're right. She didn't know that then. But she just, so by the way, so Bautista's character's name is Stoop, with a Stupe.
I really thought it was Stoop.
I thought it was Stew, like Stewart.
No, so, I heard the P in the...
I didn't, so I still have no idea what Stoop, Stupe is short for, but...
he's like he's an ex-military character, so it could just be like a jarhead nickname, possibly.
But they find each other in a strange sense, and anyways, he gives her a gun, and they're trying to get out of this situation and get to her grandmother's house. The whole point, the end goal, I guess, at this point, was to get to the grandmother's house, where she's going to see her grandmother, and she was supposed to be taking the boyfriend, but the boyfriend does not last more than 2 minutes?
Yeah, the first shot in the film after the credits is the shot in which he is lit on fire, and it's awesome.
And blown up, like he basically
gets hit with an RPG, and it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, and that's when you start to get a feel for like...
Oh, shit's real.
Shit's real, but you don't know who or why, because why would that be happening in the subway system in New York? And the thing is you start to slowly get into this, as they do as well. They start going, why are there no people here? Well, this is very weird. Why are there announcements about things being closed? What's going on? Oh shit, there's a man on fire.
Yeah, it was a really cool way to get you into the film.
It was, and the funny thing is that as they start to get out of the subway, your whole thing is worrying about them being in it. You're thinking, fuck, you're gonna be stuck in there, right? They're out, basically.
Pretty quick.
But that's when the shit actually starts.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is once you see this man on fire and stuff, and everybody's freaking out, and then they're thinking, oh my god, and then you see them start to get out, and you're like, okay, well, they're gonna be fine. The crazy, that's when the real trouble starts, which was a very nice...
it was a cool in.
It was a cool in. It was a good bit of a bait and switch, which
and
I liked.
It's a neat thing to do to your lead character, because at first you're not sure who your lead is. Because Lucy has her boyfriend there, and they both seem like they're taking up as much screen time. There's, in fact, a close-up of the lead of the male lead in that moment, and you're like, oh, okay, so I guess they're equal.
Actually, no, I think it focused much more on him.
Yeah.
Until
which
she
is kind of the cool
got
bait
out.
and switch
even
of it.
Even when he was literally just
Charred.
a skinless human being.
Yeah.
Sorry, again, literally skinless. We literally focused on him for a while, waiting to see, is he going to get up? Is he going to wait? And so I did start to think that, yeah, this was him.
And then emotionally, it's a bit weird that she sort of moves on past that.
Well, there's
the
that.
shock element. So, I guess I could get that.
And here's the thing. Again, that started to make me feel a little, are we hardcore Henrying it a little bit?
Yeah.
Or is this, in a sense, a lot of people felt, sometimes like It Follows had a bit of that, like, oh, my friend just died. Oh, well, let's just keep going. Now, she does have responses. Also, though, I hate to say this, because this is so cliche and whatever, but a lot of them are very New York reactions. New York, in film, reactions like, oh, fuck! And then you just kind of, oh, shit, you gotta keep going.
You just keep going. Yeah,
because what are you gonna do?
There is that New York vibe of a tough as nails group of people that live together, right?
And the funny thing is that while she isn't necessarily the most streetwise person, which is strange, because she apparently lives in Bushwick, which she does. Her grandmother lives there, and she's going to see her. She does know enough to get herself through this situation.
Well, she has a neat arc in the film,
and
Bautista really brings that arc about. In fact, they both have quite a lovely arc, because Bautista begins as this I
thought they had a really cool complimentary thing. Yeah. I really did. Yeah.
Bautista begins his journey as this hermity, doesn't want to have anything to do with anyone, doesn't talk to people kind of character, and then really opens up and blossoms with this with Lucy, who he's spending time with. Lucy begins as this kind of useless just city girl who learns very quickly how to do the things that Bautista is teaching her in order to survive, in order to kill, in order to make it to the end of the film.
Well, I don't think that it was that she was learning it. I think it was that she was coming back to it, and it's almost like when you haven't
never touched a gun before.
No, but she knows that area. She knows the city, right?
Yeah, but knowing the city and then knowing how to murder someone in the city, there's a leap.
No,
I think that was a really cool arc to see her. Yeah, the homecoming is kind of neat, but she wasn't coming home to a home she recognized.
Oh, hell no.
And so that was a cool element of her character's growth.
Once she got home, because the thing is that her whole thing is, we're going to my grandmother's house. They do. They get to the grandmother's house, and they get there actually relatively quickly throughout the film. I think it was about 30 minutes, 40 minutes in.
It's basically the Act 1 goal.
Sure, and they get there.
Grandma's dead.
Grandma's dead. She wasn't killed by the... Oh, well, I guess... Sorry, fuck.
We're in spoilers, guys.
Yeah, Grandma dies. Full on. She's died, but this is not due to the situation. She fell, her hips were bad, or some shit.
Her heart was weak, is what Lucy says.
And she's quite sad, but at this point also... And in no sinister way, Bautista's given her a bunch of drugs because she blew her own finger off with a fucking... Or no,
Someone shot her in the finger
off.
Yeah.
So he gave her some
pretty
drugs.
Wild pain meds.
They don't say what they are, but whatever they are apparently dope as shit.
Yeah, I feel like...
And it was actually a nice kind of comic relief for a film that at this point, I think we were probably, 34?
Yeah,
40
when a film is this violent and dark and bleak... There are opportunities to release some pressure that you really need to avail yourself of, and I feel like
they did.
The drug moment is a bit of a fun thing, because the guy's got to be on he's on some kind of leave from the military. Maybe he's got a decent prescription for painkillers, and he gives her some of these for her blown off finger.
Oh wait, yeah, where does he get them?
I imagine they're just his VA stash.
Do they say how? I don't feel like I remember them ever saying how he got them. He just was just like, ding.
That's just his drugs.
Right.
And then they move on to meet her sister. And her sister's another comedic relief moment that works out well. Yeah. And then they move on from that to this dude from Kentucky busting in. And Bautista beats the crap out of this military guy. And this is when you finally find out what the plot of this movie is.
He looks very, very threatening when he comes in, and he's in riot gear with his stick and his helmet and all black tactical gear. Very G20, which I don't know if everybody here will necessarily remember.
Like a weaponized, militarized police force.
I remember G20 here, and it was very disturbing.
Yeah.
And, Bautista and him are fighting in the kitchen of this, kind of
Ratty
run down
yeah.
Bushwick apartment with Lucy and her sister, who didn't look alike, but I definitely felt a connection.
Yeah, no familial resemblance whatsoever.
Not at all. And I think, like, her sister was Spanish and Lucy wasn't, or what was going on? It was a bit confusing.
The actors were cool. The relationship between them is never really explored, but I'll take it. Sisters,
no, but I even feel like they said at some point, like they weren't sisters, or they were.
I don't know. I might have that might have been implied.
It was a bit. That part was a bit hazy, but regardless, they are family. Anyways, this fight is going on with this tactical, this scary, like, sort of, authoritative force.
And at this stage in the film, you're still wondering, like, is this North Korea? Is this Russia? Who's invading Bushwick? Who
is doing this? And then, Bautista gets him against a wall, and
snaps his arm.
Snaps his arm. That's true. And the big reveal is he's just some little fucking Mickey Mouse hillbilly fuck.
He's a kid from Kentucky. Like a well-trained, slightly...
Was he well-trained?
He was well-trained enough to be a part of their tactical advance. I mean, he fought a Marine for a while before losing.
But by that same token, the Marine didn't know what he was getting into. This guy knows what he's doing. When you have an objective and you know what you're fighting...
Yeah, I mean, well-trained, but not as well-trained.
No, this is
Marine
true.
Who saw combat.
I was expecting some very sinister, some very big, this was just some boy from Kentucky.
Yeah, and it was interesting because he's the bad guy, and he's also an American. And so in that moment, I thought to myself, who is this movie for?
Yes.
Is this movie for, really... violent, liberal, social justice warriors who really want... Because I don't quite see that as a very big market.
No.
This movie's obviously not for like, Southern, Confederate flag-waving Nazis, because, I don't feel like those people... I don't. They're the bad guys in this movie. Well, yeah, it's not for that group of white supremacists, because there is a moment where that character says, the Kentucky boy says, the reason Bushwick was chosen was because of its ethno-diversity, and the fact that group wouldn't come together to defend itself, and it does. And my violent internal social justice love was like, yes, those Hasidic Jews and those African Americans and those Latinas are all going to get together and beat these white boys down. But at the same time, it made me wonder, who is going to watch this movie?
Well, this is what I kept saying to you, that I felt that this was like, a big problem with this movie, which is, it's so difficult. Whoever would have thought I'd have such a hard time talking about a Dave Bautista movie? But again, I find that fucking fascinating. But it is a very hard movie to market, not just because of the timely sense of it, but just who are you sending it to? Who are you selling it to?
Yeah.
The movie doesn't have an opinion. It doesn't have a voice. It doesn't necessarily have a direction. It's just a voyeur's, basically. You're a fly on a wall in a lot of senses. And the thing is that thing with the guy, it's a hard one. So it's obviously this idea of the South and this coming and basically overtaking and
occupying a few areas of Yankee
territories is nothing new. This is sort of how wars are won, and this is, again, but nobody... Do they even say war, though?
No, they don't. In fact, the whole theory of why this is happening, according to the Kentucky boy, is that an ultimatum has been sent to Congress concurrently with this attack. The ultimatum is that, 7 states are going to secede from the Union, and in exchange, they will leave the various places that they have occupied. And they chose places in the North that they would attack that day, because they were places that they thought guns are illegal in these parts of the city. We'll be able to occupy this neighborhood with minimal casualties, and then we'll just hand it back over once Congress says, yeah, okay, Confederacy, you should leave, no problem, no war necessary. And I mean, it's an interesting theory. I don't know that it would work.
I don't buy it.
I mean, ultimately, the people in the South are painted as the bad guys, and they're not painted as having a good plan here.
But also, though, I don't buy that they thought this would be the easiest route.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. There was a bunch of research that they did, apparently, into figuring out that Bushwick was a place where the divisions, the ethnodiversity was such that these groups would not come together to form a resistance. They were not a well-armed group.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah, they were not a well-armed group.
Again, I wish we'd watched this around the same time.
Right? So they were the Kentucky Boy described as a serious exposition fountain, described why all of this was happening.
That actually was that was a point that...
I mean, he said, I'm just a soldier, I'm not supposed to, know much, and then he proceeded to describe the interactions
absolutely everything
with Congress. And
Congress, yeah, why would he know that?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's not just a lieutenant.
Maybe he's lying. I mean, now we're looking a bit... Now
we're making fan theories.
Sure, but yeah, that is one thing. There was a few elements to this that I was just like, ooh, I get a bit sticky with things like needless exposition, because to me, when I watch a film like this, especially a film that is shot from POV so strongly,
yeah,
if you're showing me a story, show me a story.
And I feel like if this story had been told about Houston, Texas, being invaded by the North, it would have been something that Southern Americans from the South would have been like, oh man, this is a cool movie about the South defending itself from the Yankees in the North using violence. And I feel like the gun culture of the South, I've spent some time, I have some great friends in the South, and I feel like I respect the way they go about their lives. It's different than I do in Toronto. But I feel like that culture would have embraced this film if it was Inside Out. I don't know that the North is going to love this movie.
I don't
in the
know
way the South would have if it was
Inside
Inside Out.
I don't know if anybody just geographically based will or not, because I think it really is more up to be honest, this sounds really weird again. I never thought I would say this. But I think it's a cinephile's choice. This is a cinematic choice. It's someone, as a film lover, your choice to whether you enjoy it or not. I know it has political, undertones.
Yep.
It does not specifically have a leaning.
No, I mean, it says, man, this is bad.
It says, man, it's bad, but both sides can say it's bad.
But it's a typical, it's a typical dystopian tale in that it doesn't give you anything other than oh shit, this scenario sucks, don't let this happen. That's basically the only message it's got that I can tell.
But it never even says don't let what happen. Just don't let it get to this point.
Yeah, don't let it get to the point where Texas wants to board choppers and invade Bushwick.
The thing is, though, is that also when it ends, it just stops. So it doesn't. There's no
resolution.
There's no resolution. There's no pacing to the sort of finale. We're conditioned in a sense as film, lovers and whatever to look for. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that. It's just.
Well, here's the thing: if you're gonna tell a big story from the perspective of the ground game, the people with boots on the ground while it's happening, you're never going to find out what Congress does. Because Lucy and Stoop are not going to be privy to that. So it's an interesting choice to do a snapshot of the madness that this would have happen. It's like in Cloverfield, the first one or the second one, where you're telling the story from the perspective of people that have no top-down knowledge of what's going on.
Yeah.
So they're just in a racing around panic.
But the strange thing is that this strange Kentucky boy knew everything.
Yep.
But the interesting thing is that the last, I think, 10 to 12 minutes, we learn basically about Dave Bautista's character, Stu.
Yeah, he has a beautiful scene in the last act of this film.
I never, ever thought I'd be saying this, but he has an absolutely incredible, remarkable scene that is so, it really, really hits you as somebody who's watched now this film. It's not a long film. It's what, an hour and 30 minutes?
Yeah, it's a 90-minute action film.
It is what it is, but you aren't necessarily super invested. You're curious, but you're not still sure why. He's very gruff and sort of distant and whatever. But and even in this sort of another big reveal at the end, but it's so interesting, and he was really, really good in this film. I gotta say, you
can really tell that these were the scenes that made Dave go, "Oh shit, yeah, I want to do this movie.
I want to put my money into this as an executive producer."
Put my name into it as an executive producer.
He wanted to star in it. Parts of me at times were thinking, who would I have put in this role otherwise? And it wasn't. I mean, not necessarily, but once I got to the very end and once the movie sort of gestated with me, I thought, I don't think I would have put anybody else. I think he did a really, really good job.
Yeah, Dave was fantastic in this. The actress that played Lucy, I recognized from the Pitch Perfect films.
Which I never saw.
Well, and I feel like taking someone who feels like, I'm going to use the term basic bitch, who feels a bit like a basic bitch. I think that was the point.
Gloves
off.
They were off earlier, but they're off again.
Like when I saw her face, I immediately associated her with this character that she was in Pitch Perfect, and I think it was brilliant casting because she goes from that assumption where, you know, she's just a Bushwick hipster, and then she turns into this leader that is just a beautiful arc for the character, and I thought the actress did a wonderful job. The Lucy character is really quite neat.
I really, when she found her grandmother and when she really discovered that her finger was gone is when I really thought, you know what, she is really, really good in this role.
Yeah. She
has a lot of depth of character for a character that most people wouldn't give a lot of depth to.
No. It was an interesting choice to make her the point of view character.
Yeah. It's so fascinating. I mean, I've got to say to you guys, like, even just as cinephiles, as a study of film, this film, whether you enjoy it or not, because frankly, I keep saying, I'm not sure I did either. I don't know if I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed it. I don't know.
I'm glad I saw it.
I'm glad I saw it. 100%. I'm glad I saw it. I don't know if I enjoyed it. I don't know if I wasn't entertained.
If for no other reason than to see Dave Bautista's awesome third act monologue. I enjoyed that so much.
Or his first act, like
when he cauterizes his leg.
I didn't want to say it, but I forgot for that until you said it.
It's so good. He does some cool shit in this movie.
He does some cool shit. And the film is, I guess, no. Yeah, okay. All right.
You thinking you might have enjoyed it?
Gloves up. I enjoyed it, but it's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it shows one of your countries in a very dark and a very plausible fate.
It shows, here's the thing, people ask me all the time about why I like horror movies. How do you watch horror movies all the time? You're not scared of this, you're not scared of that, you're not scared of this. No. I'm scared of, like, the only things that scare me are, like,
real things.
I made Matt watch 99 Homes with me, which is a movie about real estate.
Yeah. And real estate foreclosure, it's a serious horror movie about real estate foreclosure.
And it's terrifying. And to me, this idea of this civil war and stuff like that is, it's very real. It's not it's too scary.
Yeah, this did not feel like a fictionalized account. It felt like a documentary from 6 years from now. As I was watching
I was going to say like 6 months from now.
Yeah, or, could be a documentary from 6 months from now.
But also, by that same token, I thought, while I was watching this, I was like, shit, I feel like I just saw this on the news with the Charlottetown or whatever stuff, and I was like, oh, Lord, this is not good. And when you're watching something unfold in a movie, first of all, that was obviously filmed 2.5 years prior, and that nobody then also wanted to release, and then you're watching it, I was like, oh no, it's like a, it's a bit of like a sort of a doomsday sort of thing that you feel a bit,
a very, it's a dystopian tale that's within reach. And that's terrifying.
The within reach is the scary part.
Like
it's not
Hunger
like the
Games,
Purge.
Hunger Games and the Book of Eli and Mad Max. Like, these are dystopian films that don't seem like they're an inch away.
No.
This is a dystopian film that could happen tomorrow morning. And
but, no, I feel like it's happening now, which is why it was a hard sell. And the thing that is fucked is that it's like, it's not so dystopian when it's actually happening.
Are we living in the dystopian universe now? That's the sad thing.
Ooh, do you remember the movie Strange Days?
Yes.
That reminds me a bit of that's another
weird.
Actually, now we should think about that one. But I think for me that first of all, I find it very interesting that this film was not made. This film was not made for people to enjoy. I don't think.
I don't know.
I think it was made for you to see.
Yeah, this movie was shot when Obama was still in office.
Yeah.
This movie was edited probably when Obama was still in office. But this movie was released while Trump is enabling Nazi flags in the South. And so... And like, pardoning vicious men. And so we're in a place where the North and the South are as divided as I've seen in my lifetime.
Ever. That's what I mean.
And I've driven through the states, past the Mason-Dixon line many times. I've lived in the States, but this movie feels like it captured what's happening now.
Right now.
In a terrifying way. And a visceral, fascinating, frightening way that I could not take my eyes away from.
Has no ending. There's no wrap up.
No, there's no happy ending. There's no sad ending.
There's no.
There's like sad events, but it's not an ending. It's just.
It didn't end. The movie just
over.
Stopped,
yeah.
and the way it stopped is basically, it was just a continuation of what had kept happening. Nobody had their movie moment
no winners and losers.
No,
this is our Independence Day.
Nobody
Bill Pullman moments.
Came back with their adopted son from whatever.
Yeah.
There was no reconciliation of anybody for anything. I mean, aside from the sisters finding each other, that was very short-lived.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the whole thing, I walked into this going, yay, action movies, people die, love it. I got super bummed out, and I am still not sure how I feel about the movie, which to me says that it's a great movie. Do I want to watch it again? I sort of do, but I don't.
See, I've been thinking about it.
I can't stop thinking about it. Me too.
It's a haunting. It's a haunting
really
film.
Whoever would have thought? Okay, we never thought that
Bushwick starring Dave Bautista.
We would be haunting
film.
Whoever would have thought Donald Trump is president? We didn't think. Well, we watched that thing together.
Yeah, we watched that election.
We never thought that going to see Conjuring 2 that it was going to be, or Conjuring 1 was going to be Conjuring 2. Who knows?
Surprises. And this movie is full of them. And now that we've ruined all of them.
Yeah, now that we've ruined the whole fucking movie for you.
If you've made it this far in this review without watching it yet.
I do say you got to see it.
Yeah.
I would say to see it.
It's worth seeing the way this plays out. It's playing in theaters in select cities. with this short of a theatrical run, this limited of a theatrical run, if it makes a bunch of money this weekend, it may blow up and go to a bunch of other theaters. If it doesn't, then it will be on video on demand quickly. But either way, you should get around to seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the video on demand situation is. I know that it came out North America selectively August 25th, which was yesterday. I would actually say that this is a theater C.
It's worth seeing in the theater.
I think it might be, because also the score is done by not A$AP Rocky, by the way, A$AP Rock, who is another hip-hop artist who's like a very, very well-known hip-hop artist, and he did the score for this. Now, there's not a lot of score, but when it's there, it's super fucking cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And he is a highlight in this film, as is a lot of the effects are actually really cool. Yeah,
Bushwick's on fire for a lot of this movie.
It is.
Yeah.
It is on fire, and it is something I think I would have liked to see on a big screen.
Mm-hmm. I got to see it on a semi-big screen because it was projected in my theater, my home theater space. So it was, yeah. So it was. I mean, you know, I make movies, so I gotta watch them. I gotta watch them in style,
so
right?
So just me just like brushing my hair away.
But the effects blew up really nicely. And
yeah, I
enjoyed
they were well
the effects.
done. I mean, it's again, it's a mid-range film as far as budget.
I have honestly no idea what the actual budget of this movie was.
Yeah,
I'd put it at like either an incredibly smart $5 million.
Yeah.
Or I guess reasonably well spent $20 million. Like, we're at an age where
I was gonna go with about 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the other thing is that there was no marketing as far as posters or like if you know.
Yeah, it's not on any bus shelters.
Though there is a poster, and the poster fucking ruins it.
The poster's logline ruins the first
Don't look
act.
at the poster.
Yeah.
I do though feel now, having seen the poster in hindsight though, don't look at it. I feel again this is another sort of like notch on the side of don't watch trailers, don't look at posters, it ruins stuff that because they're so desperate to sell things at this point in time.
That they'll give away so much of the movie to do it.
They will blow their load so fast. Yeah. And they, by this poster, it would look like The Purge, and it's not. And by making it look like The Purge, and I do like The Purge, 100%, but it does a complete disservice to this film, and it doesn't give it a chance to sort of grow and gestate with you as a viewer, and sort of have the pacing and tension that it has created. Yeah. So I think that does it a bit of a disservice. So.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you can tell by the length at which we've spoken about this film.
Oh shit! Wow,
that there's a lot. I don't even know. That there's a lot to digest in this film.
Shockingly.
And you know, again, a Dave Bautista film is not something you would expect that to happen from. But I like that this is a new kind of film for him. And hopefully it's the harbinger of more films like this from him as an executive producer and as an actor. Because I enjoyed his performance in this in a way that I love his Drax. I thought his character in Bond was a fascinating sort of muscle. But this is a neat and exciting new leaf that I've seen Bautista turn over, and I'm looking forward to seeing more acting from a really freaking talented dude.
I'm really stoked to see him invest his time and invest his money in stuff that he sees as believable and that he believes in. Yeah. It also gives me a bit more of an insight into who he is. He's not just some meathead MMA fighter. I got a lot more of an insight as to who he is as a person by this film. I think this is a very, very good assessment of who he is and what his sort of trajectory is.
Yeah, it's exciting because we've seen people go from fighting and wrestling into the mainstream, whether it's Gina Carano or Dwayne Johnson.
We saw Ronda Rousey do some stuff.
Ronda Rousey, yeah. I mean, we've seen what happens when people move from the physical domain of fighting into leaning more on the acting muscle. And there's presentation and performance involved in UFC and WWE.
Oh,
but
huge.
It's huge. But you're relying almost entirely on it. None of it's live anymore when you're doing film. It becomes about the performance entirely. So
wait. In film, it's all...
In film, none of it's live anymore because when you look at the experience they've had doing a live fight or doing a live WWE Raw event, that's stuff that you got to nail it the one time. If it's good, it's good. Off you go. There's more scrutiny in something that is in film, and I think Dave Bautista lives up to that scrutiny.
I think there's also a lot. It's a lot harder for people in wrestling. Because people still have a stigma attached to that.
Fake. Yeah.
That it's fake and that they're not actors. They're also not athletes. They're in a weird no man's land
where no one considers them a professional athlete or a professional actor even though they need to be all of those things.
They have to be all of those things. And they have to be a stuntman as well.
Yeah.
But no one calls them a stuntman. No one considers them an actor, and no one considers them an athlete. It's a real shit no man's land that is completely unfair, but people have shown over the years that this is Mickey Rourke has shown this, The Rock has shown this. Like this is,
I love The Rock.
I do too. He's very endearing. My friend Alain, who actually did that the kickboxer film. Now he started as a martial artist. There's also a thing about martial artists can't be actors and they can't.
Well, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Bruce Lee certainly broke those molds.
He is the
and Chuck Norris.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, but now we all know. Was Jean-Claude Van Damme fantastic in his role in Kickboxer?
He really did the splits.
He really did the splits. He really
totally
did the dance scene.
Splits.
He really did the dance scene and the thing. But I will say that in this, Dave Bautista really, really acted.
Yeah,
he didn't actually fight.
Yeah, his fighting was really sort of
secondary.
Yeah, that's not what matters.
He actually tried very hard not to fight.
Yeah.
Which was part of his whole character's thing, which was very interesting and a bit of a sort of like that you get to do once you're at this point in Dave Bautista's career and you get to be an executive producer.
It subverted some expectations that I liked.
I did cool. Too. It was a very cool, refreshing, not what I expected.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this film. I will say I really enjoyed this film.
I like that you've come around to that.
I have.
Good.
I did enjoy it.
It's disturbing.
The question is though, would I recommend people to watch it? It's hard.
I would. I mean,
bearing
in mind that it has
you're not gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
Is the thing. Just so you know. But people,
it has no call to action. It doesn't tell you how to solve this problem. It doesn't tell you how to fix America.
No, and you're not going to feel good when you leave.
It just puts a magnifying glass. Yeah. It just puts a magnifying glass over all the problems and how troubled America is now and kind of has been for 150 years.
Yeah, I mean, that never really ended. But it also is a very cool movie that, in a very strange sense, you can slightly lose yourself in if you can take a little bit away from this sort of obvious situation that is mirrored. If you want to enjoy some really cool performances, a very, very, very cool directorial take on a Civil War situation and a dystopian future, which is not that future.
A very near future.
Yeah, like next week or this week. If you want to do that, this is actually a super cool film. It's got a great score, really good performances. I would give this out of 5 gloves out of 5. I would actually give it a 4, yet I still can't say whether I liked it.
Yeah, I'd give it 4 gloves out of 5.
I give
for
it
sure.
4 gloves out of 5.
It's got a few like filmmaking weaknesses here and there that don't really detract from the experience of the story.
No, yeah.
And I think the story is really what matters. The fact that it doesn't have a call to action at the end hurts it a bit for me because I like that.
But I also find it very interesting.
Yeah, it makes us talk about it, which I think is
we haven't
cool.
stopped talking about that.
No.
We can't figure out why.
But you know what? While we conclude this, let's give you a call to action, which is if you are north of the Mason-Dixon line, reach out to your friends that are south of the Mason-Dixon line and remind yourselves that you're all Americans and that there's something special about the American experiment. And
also,
that whether you come from stock that fought in the north, come from stock that fought in the south, or come from stock that weren't even in the country at the time.
Yeah.
America is a complicated place, but a place...
Canada's a complicated place, too.
Yeah, but we're not at war.
We aren't.
Yeah.
We aren't.
And I think America needs to be friendlier to itself.
Yeah, we gotta look out for each other a little bit more, which there was, to me at the very end of the day, there was a slight call to action that we do have to look out for each other in when we can. Yeah,
the line that Kentucky boy has, where with the contempt with which he refers to ethnodiversity. It's like, that's your strength, America. It's always been your strength.
Well, and Lucy's sister says, this is fucking New York or whatever.
Yeah.
And there is a huge, as you will see throughout the film, there are moments where people could clash based on ethnodiversity, and they don't.
Yeah.
They come together.
Absolutely.
So it's not that this isn't a film based on hopelessness. This actually at the end of the day, it is, I would say it is based on hope.
It's about a hopeful ethno-diverse North.
It just doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a casualties.
It vilifies the South
and there's
in a way
lot of
that is
casualties.
brutal.
There's a lot of just casualties that are unfortunate. But
grandmas that just die of heart attacks.
Or girls that get shot at the very end.
Yeah.
It's a tough one in those sorts of ways. Hopefully, though, this will be something 10 years from now. We can all go, oh, that's such a...
Yeah.
It's a time capsule in a moment.
10 years from now when we have a really progressive, intelligent, Republican... Latina like Ana Navarro who's running America when she's president, or when Tulsi Gabbard is president, when some really special, interesting women are running America, I think we'll be able to look back at this film and be like, oh man, dodged that bullet. So,
but I will say though that I think that this is a good film to watch. I don't know if you'll like it, but it's a good film to watch.
Yeah, that's about all there is to say about that.
So, with that being said, I guess we should do well, hang on.
Yeah.
I got the wrong gloves here. Hang on. We got to do one of these.
Up top?
Well, these are hard. Up top. Oh.